And good morning, ladies and gentlemen, coming to you live from the Malibu Mountains. The sun is rising, it is bright and early, so God is great, and we're blessed to have another day. Wanted to talk to you all today about patience and also about not rushing the process. See, a lot of traders, they try to rush the process. I was guilty of it too. For the longest time, for the entire first part of my trading career, I too was trying to rush the process. I would try to over leverage. I would never scale down. I wanted to get right to risking 20 lots, 10 lots, 15 lots. I wanted to get directly to the funded stage. I didn't want to demo trade. I didn't want to back test. I only wanted to take live trades. And if any of this stuff sounds familiar, then you are rushing the process. You want the outcome more than you want to spend the actual proper time learning the skill set. And in other words, you want the quick escape from your current reality more than you want the hard, difficult path of becoming a new person. And this is the thing, a lot of people in life, not just in trading, but in life in general, they want certain outcomes quickly before they become the person who can create that outcome, and more importantly, who can keep those results once they're there. And a few of you may even experienced what I had to experience, which is getting to a payout out of sheer luck, and then realizing that you cannot keep the payout and get more payouts if you don't have a real system. And that's probably the scariest place that you could be, because that's where most of you guys want to be. Most of you guys want a fat payout, 10, 20K. Most of you guys want max allocation on a prop firm, and then you're just like, when I just get that, I'm gonna be good. Then I'll be consistent. Then I'll start acting with good habits. Then I could sit back and only take 8+ setups. So in other words, you want the outcome to come before the habits. But I'm here to tell you, even if you do get the outcome without the habits, you will not be able to keep it, because the habits are what allows you to do it over and over and over again. And this is the part that cannot be rushed, because we all have to find what makes us tick. And then beyond that, we have to find the most optimal conditions for the way that we specifically trade. And this is the part that takes time. This is the part that takes experience, and this is where you have to allow space for God's grace to hold you steady through the uncertainty, because it is going to feel like you are not accomplishing anything. It's going to feel like you're putting everything on the line and your life just keeps getting worse and worse. It's going to feel like you keep trying strategy after strategy and you keep taking losses. It's going to feel like 1% at a time progress, which to most people feels way too slow. So what do? They go in and try to rush the process, and then they end up 10 steps behind where they should have been. And this is exactly what happened to me. I told you guys, I got that payout out of luck. I was rushing the process. I didn't even have my full strategy written out. I didn't even have a full risk management plan dialed. And I certainly didn't have any sort of protocols on which days of the market I would avoid and what conditions were ideal for me to trade in or that I needed to avoid. So once I got that payout, I was essentially a fool with money. And you know the saying goes, a fool and his money will soon part ways. And that's exactly what happened. I blew the accounts, and every single dollar that I got as a payout all ended up going back into the market. And not only that, because I had gotten the payout, I genuinely thought for a second that I actually knew what I was doing. I genuinely thought that I'd cracked the code, I'd figured it out, and I would never have to worry about working on my trading strategy again. So this was a rude awakening, and it gave me the understanding that there are two learning curves in trading. The first learning curve is realizing it's possible, getting that first payout. The second learning curve is realizing how to do it consistently, and that is the part that takes the most self-mastery. And are there things that you can rush in trading? Yes, guys, absolutely. I am not a believer in learning slow. I believe most people do things way too slowly. Most people can learn way faster than they actually think. But there is definitely nuance to that in trading. Things you can rush. What can you rush, guys? You can rush the amount of content you consume about one strategy. If you're trying to learn a strategy and you're simply focused on that one strategy, the more videos you watch around that, the more back testing reps you put in, the more forward testing reps you put in, yes, you will get better at seeing that strategy. You will get better at marking up that strategy. You will get better at understanding why that strategy works. And you can develop this very quickly. The thing that develops slower is you have to actually go out and execute it. You have to actually go out and get proper reps. And that can sometimes take weeks to months, depending on how many times that setup is actually forming. Because you don't want to just go in and take anything. You want to have clean reps. Just like in the gym, you don't want to have junk volume. You don't want to have reps with bad form. Same thing in the charts. You want perfect reps, and these perfect reps take time to collect in the live market. Not only that, backtesting results are not going to directly translate to live market execution. So there will be a slight gap in between the time where you're doing good in backtesting and that actually translates to live execution. Because in the live charts, it's a lot more about managing your emotional state. It's a lot more about managing your nervous system. And if you're new to trading, if you're trying to do that while you're thinking about what you're trying to see in the chart, it can be very difficult. So that is why this takes time, guys. You have to adjust your body. You have to adjust your nervous system. You have to adjust your mentality to being in this environment of uncertainty and still being able to follow very strict parameters. So yes, there are certain areas where you can learn, you can practice, you can put in way more volume, way more reps very quickly, but there are also a lot of areas in trading where you do have to allow space, you do have to allow grace for yourself and for God to go ahead and deliver those insights and those epiphanies to you throughout your journey, because it's not going to come overnight. It's not going to come when you want it to. The breakthrough is going to happen when God feels you're ready, and once you've put in the significant amount of the right work, the correct work, instead of trying to rush the process and get right to the outcome. So I hope this helps a lot of you, just, to have a little bit more of a patient mindset and just to have a little bit more patience with yourself, because a lot of times we're our worst enemy in this journey. We beat ourselves up, we compare our situation to other people. Never do that, guys. Trading is hard enough as it is, so you don't need another negative voice in your head, especially if that voice is your own voice. So be your biggest critic. Yes, you do have to be self-reflective, you do have to be self-aware in trading, but also be your own biggest fan. You gotta have both. But anyways, I'm about to hit the charts, so I will see you guys in the next video. Until next time, take care, be blessed, and we'll see you in the next one.